No one should suffer as we have. The heart-rending message of Hibakusha, forged in a cauldron of suffering and sorrow, transcends hatred and rejection. Its spirit is generosity and love for humanity. Its focus is the future of humankind. Let all the souls here rest in peace, for we shall not repeat the evil. These words express the spirit of Hiroshima, pursuing harmony and prosperity for all, and yearning for genuine, lasting world peace.
So this is your first time to Japan, right?
This is the first time ever to Japan.
Awesome. And this has been like a dream for a while, right?
It's been on my bullet list for a while.
Okay. Or your bullet list or your bucket list?
Bucket list.
Okay. We're gonna
It's been on my bucket list. Yeah, this has been on my bucket list for
a
long
while.
time.
Okay,
Yes.
cool, yeah. And well, I'm so glad you came because it's been a long time since we've actually got
It's been almost 20 years.
yeah,
since
hang
we've
out
seen each
together.
other.
I was in law school and we were at the family reunion. So
Yeah.
So first time in Japan, and now before you came, you kind of started studying Japanese, right?
Yes.
Okay. And how
Yes.
did you do that?
So I used an app called Duolingo.
Okay.
And I used the paid version.
Okay.
And I'm not. I don't remember the differences
Okay.
in pay. You can do a lot for free with Duolingo.
Okay. And how did that help you? And when did you start? And how did that help you in coming to Japan?
So I think I started using it 7 to 8 weeks ago.
Okay.
And I actually have done a few lessons while we're here.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think I broke my streak.
Okay.
I had a streak of over 40 days.
So are there any things that you thought like, oh, I wish they had more of this, or, any suggestions for?
Oh yeah. If I could talk to a developer at Duolingo, it would be great to have a short list. No matter what country you go to in the world, there are a short list of things. If you're not fluent in the language, phrases that you really should know.
Okay.
So, very helpful. Do you speak English?
Yeah.
Um,
And do you remember how to say that in Japanese now?
Yes, I'll do my best.
Okay.
Eigo wo hanasemasu ka?
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. And then a lot of times people say yes, sometimes
A little bit.
a little bit. Okay.
Very,
Okay.
very often. More often, people's response has been a little bit.
A little bit. Okay.
And sometimes they say a little bit, and they actually can speak quite a bit
Really well, right?
of English. Sometimes they say a little bit, and it is a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So you visited other countries like Germany, right?
Yes, and I took 3 semesters of German
Okay.
when I was in college.
Okay. And how did you get along in Germany with German?
So I was pretty comfortable. The first time I went to Germany, I had only been out of college a few years.
Okay.
And it was an interesting experience because I hadn't used it much.
Okay.
And each passing day, words, phrases, grammar would come back to me.
Okay.
But I could also say most of the phrases that you need to say.
You needed. Okay.
Yeah. What are the other really useful phrases?
Yeah.
Where are the toilets?
Yeah. Yeah. That was, yeah.
In Japan, where you want to be, where politeness is such a big part of the culture, it's important to be able to say thank you.
Oh yeah.
And there are multiple ways of doing it. The informal is arigato, but that's not considered polite. If you're
like
speaking to a stranger,
Yeah.
that's not what you would say. And you actually helped me with this quite a bit. So the formal thank you would be arigato gozaimasu.
Perfect.
And this is after a week of practice.
But I want to tell my audience, my cousin has a mind like a steel trap. We're both first generation college graduates, right?
Yes.
And you went all the way, right? So how far did you go?
I I earned a PhD in
Okay.
electrical engineering
At
University of Colorado at Boulder.
okay, nice. So, like I said, growing up, you were one of the smartest people I knew, still are. So, and that's not flattering you to get you to do a video for my channel. But so we traveled around a lot together. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been fun.
You use the JR pass, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did you? Would you recommend that? Is it useful?
I would recommend it with some reservations.
Okay.
So it is useful. It comes in, I think you have to buy it in 3 blocks of time, either 7 days, 14 days, or maybe 30 days.
Okay.
You can look at it on the website.
Yeah.
If you're buying a JR pass, you have to buy it before you get to Japan.
Yeah. And that's why I can't use it, because I live here. So.
Yes. So it's been great. If we're going on a JR line, we took bullet train from Tokyo to Kyoto, from Kyoto to Hiroshima, from Hiroshima back to Kyoto, and then we will go from Kyoto to Tokyo tomorrow. We've also been able to take multiple trains with the JR pass.
However,
the JR pass is just a card, and so to take the Shinkansen, you have to go to we went to a JR office.
Yeah.
And
in Shinagawa Station.
Shinagawa Station in Tokyo, and very patient.
She was great.
She was great.
Yeah.
She was a very patient woman. Helped us make all the reservations on the bullet trains. And I should mention there are 2 levels of JR pass. You can get a green pass.
Okay.
Which lets you ride in the first class cars with a reservation.
The green car.
The green car.
So it doesn't mean ecological pass, it means that.
Right. And then I can't remember just the regular pass.
Okay.
And I believe you still can make a reservation.
Yeah.
With those, but it's not in the green car. And the green car is very nice. I don't really know what the other cars are like because I didn't ride in those. But
there's a couple of like the green car, which is what if you're traveling on business, the company's paying for it, or if you want to have a stress-free vacation, you would get the green car. I got a reserve seat, which I don't normally get. There's also the free seating, which is where just whatever's available, and that's a crapshoot because if you get on at the wrong time, you could be standing for 2 hours.
For 2 hours.
Wow. Yeah. But that's that. So. So we had to get an extra ticket for each leg of the trip, right?
Right.
And that can get confusing because we went to, like you said, Tokyo to Kyoto, Kyoto to Hiroshima, Hiroshima to Kyoto, and then back to Tokyo. So we had to have 1 ticket for each leg, plus your pass.
Plus the pass. And then you put the pass through a slot, a turnstile that lets you pass through. In one of the... So look, you were great. You were fantastic.
Now he's flattering me, but
it would have been not knowing Japanese well. It would have been extremely stressful to get through this.
And then
without your help,
like when you
people do right. Yeah. We've bumped into a lot of tourists here that don't know as much Japanese as I do, and they get by. Yeah, they do. And there are enough people here that know English. Tourism's not as big in Japan as it is other places.
I always say they never thought of themselves as a tourist destination. The yen was really expensive. Things are small. Hotel rooms are small. Airbnb, if you get that, is small. It's not easy to travel, right? It was more geared toward Japanese people going around for business.
Right.
But the infrastructure is amazing. So I had a guest on my podcast, Terry Lloyd, and he said that with inbound tourism, Japan already has the infrastructure. So there's no cost.
No cost
infrastructure-wise.
Right.
Yeah. Which is a really big plus for Japan. But one of the things that causes me anxiety still is you have a ticket for JR and a ticket for the bullet train, and you have to put both of those in. I'm always afraid it's going to eat my ticket.
I was very concerned about that. There were two times when we had concerns about that. Let's talk about the second time. So, for the trip back yesterday from Hiroshima to Kyoto, we had to change trains.
At Shinosaka.
Yes.
Yes.
And so when we got the reservation, you get a ticket that has the car number and the seat number, and you asked for us.
Yeah.
We went to the I don't know what you call it, the booth alongside all the turnstiles where you go through.
There's always a little JR office, yeah.
And this is where it was super helpful to have somebody that's fluent in Japanese with you, because you asked the gentleman there, and I don't think his English was very good.
No,
it would have been dicey.
Would have been a struggle,
without you there. And you asked, do we put, two tickets or all three through at the same time?
Yeah.
And once he understood what you were asking, he's like, no, put all three through.
Yep.
And we put all three through,
Yep.
and all three went through, and everything was fine.
Yeah, that was fun, yeah.
So then,
but it is a little stressful.
Those are moments that are a little stressful. Frankly, if I were coming here and I didn't have a cousin that could serve as a tour guide, and yeah, thanks again. I would have seriously considered an all-inclusive tour, where you have a tour guide all the days, everything's planned. Now we would have missed out on some really fun
cool
things
stuff,
that you showed us, because they wouldn't take a group of 20
tourists. That's true. Like
to that restaurant where we went with
my friend Jeff. Yeah.
Yes.
Hey Jeff. We had a great time with you too,
Jeff,
man.
and it was very nice to meet you.
So, and he's a world traveler. He goes all over the place.
Well, and he had no qualms his first time to Japan. He had no qualms meeting us.
Just met at Tokyo Station. Yeah. So then, how about the food?
The food I have really enjoyed. Well, I've always liked sushi. I had sushi for the first time with a friend in Boston.
Okay.
And I think the name of the restaurant was the Genji.
Okay.
And I have no idea if it's still there in Boston or not. It's a very nice sushi restaurant back in the 80s. I've enjoyed sushi ever since then. So that was one of the many things I was looking forward to when I came to Japan. Okay, well.
Have sushi in Japan.
Have sushi in Japan.
Yep.
And we had sushi twice, I think, while we were here.
Yep. Once in Shimbashi, once in Kyoto.
Yes.
Yep.
And if it were entirely up to me, I probably would have had sushi more often. While I like sushi, and something I'm interested in. My wife Sarah is also with us, but not on the camera right now.
Okay.
She's not a fan.
Not a sushi fan. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, but we did get to try a lot of other things, and one of the textures that's unique to Japan.
Yes.
Slimy.
What is the Japanese word for the texture?
I'll have to think about it and edit it in. Yeah.
Yeah, you used it. You and Mihoko used it the other night when we were at the restaurant.
We did, yeah, and so the squid.
It was the squid. Yes.
Yeah.
There were a couple of other things that I've had that were like that. There was in the Shinagawa Prince Hotel. We had it's a really fantastic buffet. It was very expensive.
Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly how much. Maybe
it was like 5,000 a person.
I think it was 5,000 on the order of 5,000 yen a person, which was pretty expensive.
Which meant.
Let's talk about that for a second. So, from a currency exchange point of view, I don't know that I could have picked a better time. We're recording this in May of 2024.
Yep.
And the dollar is very strong relative to the yen. So, we were going to places in Tokyo, which is, we both remember, the 80s and the 90s when things were very expensive here. And I've always had this impression of Tokyo as one of the most expensive cities in the world.
Yeah.
And we've, the number of things that I've bought here, like a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Cheaper in Tokyo than back home.
Yep. Yep.
And not just that,
Yeah.
other things as well. So, fortunate there.
Yep.
I know that currencies fluctuate and go up and down, so that's just
Yeah.
a point in time.
But it's a really good time to travel
It is. It's been a great
to
time
Japan.
travel.
Yeah.
Oh, and May is just before the rainy season. So
Yes.
we deliberately.
It was a perfect time. I mean, the weather we had. I mean, I got a little sunburn.
Yes.
But ended up wearing women's foundation the next day. So we're gonna edit that part out for sure. But it was a UV cut foundation.
Yeah.
So, but no, I got a little sunburn on my head the first day because we walked around, or second day we walked around a lot in the sun. But places to see in Kyoto. What would you recommend?
The highlight was and let me see if I can say it correctly. Daitokuji.
Yes.
Daitokuji is a temple with between 20 and 30 sub-temples.
Yep.
I don't remember the exact number. And we were fortunate. There were 2 sub-temples. We had to pay to go into each of them. One was a very impressive rock garden, and I don't remember
the name of that one.
The name of that, and maybe you can add it in.
I'll put it right here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
And
subtitles. Yeah.
And then, but the first one was spectacular, and I don't even know exactly how to describe it.
So this is this interesting thing. So the first night, or sorry, first day we arrived here in Kyoto, right, and we went to Pontocho.
Pontocho, yes.
Which I'd heard a lot about, but it was really crowded to me. And then we ended up going to the tea house, which was great. And then we went to Philosopher's Path. That was the first night here.
Right.
But on the way back from the Philosopher's Path, we got some good tips from the driver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And mentioned Obai Inn, which is in Daitokuji.
Daitokuji, yes.
And that was probably my favorite part of this. And I've got some videos and some pictures of that. So,
okay, so we can...
Because it's really hard to explain. It's just beautiful and ancient and really well-kept grounds. And they had like the white rocks with the lines through them, and then they had a rock garden. And
the rock garden was separate from that.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that was in the second place we went to, right? The rock... Okay, you're right. Okay.
But there were also white rocks in the... in the... courtyards, if you will.
That's right, yeah.
Part of the first
temple. Stunning.
That was spectacular.
And very picturesque. And I always say Japan's one of the most photogenic places I've ever been. Because you can just take picture after picture and never never run out of places.
It's amazing, the number of shrines and the number of temples. They are... We've passed more than I can count.
Oh yeah,
we have pictures, and so I could go back and
but, we can go back and trace our steps. But and Kyoto's such a cultural heritage site that there's temples everywhere, and a lot of times people will say like, "Oh, what's that temple?" I'm like, I don't know. There's so many. Yeah. But Obai, I forgot we went to the bamboo forest, which was not the.
It was a botanical garden.
It was a botanical garden, yeah.
Which had a small bamboo forest, but if you look in the tour guides, there's a place called the bamboo
forest. I owe you an apology. I took us to the botanical garden, and you had asked for the bamboo forest, so I owe you an apology on that one. So I found bamboo, and I zeroed it.
Although it's kind of hard to avoid bamboo in Japan.
That's true. I mean, they eat it, right? It's in the gardens, yeah. A lot of the construction uses bamboo, so. But I took us to the wrong bamboo site, but the botanical garden was nice. Then we went to lunch, then Daitokuji, and then after that, what did we do? Dinner?
We did dinner. That was the second sushi dinner.
But we had reservations.
Reservations.
Made a huge difference.
Oh yes, the first night was we walked. Oh, so one of the things. So all of us can walk a good distance.
Yeah.
Right. Most of the days here were, and everybody has cell phones and watches that count your steps now. But most of the days here were between 15,000 and 20,000.
Yep,
steps.
At least. Yeah.
So we walked a lot. Not absolutely necessary. That's something look, if you can't walk a lot, you could still come to Japan and have a good
Oh,
time.
yeah.
But you'd have to plan differently.
Sure.
But that night, looking for a restaurant that wasn't full in
Yep.
Pontacho
Yeah.
was
It was a chore,
we
yeah.
actually we eventually gave up.
Yep.
Came back to our hotel
That's
and
right.
ate in the hotel restaurant,
Had a light meal.
which was also very nice too.
Good, yeah.
But it
yeah.
was not really.
Yeah, but I recommend if you come to a place like Kyoto, get dinner reservations.
Get a dinner
Yeah.
reservation,
Especially, yeah.
especially if you know somebody that's fluent and
If
can
you-
make the reservation for you.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely make reservations because restaurants are small
Yes.
and they fill up, and everybody else seems like they know they should make a reservation.
Right.
And
We didn't.
didn't occur to me.
Yes.
I mean, when we went to dinner in Shimbashi with my buddy Jeff, we just walked in, right?
Yeah.
And that's because I know the area, and if that place is full, I had like 3 or 4 backups.
Okay.
That's why I was confident just walking down there. Kyoto, another city I'm not familiar with in Japan, I'd make a reservation now
Yes.
going forward, especially peak tourist season, Friday night.
Friday night. We hit, in that sense, it was maybe not the best planning.
Yeah, well, there was no plan, but then
I was trying to be charitable.
but then the second night, really nice sushi dinner again.
Yes.
And that was a cool place, right? We walked
Oh, yeah.
down all these hallways.
It wasn't a private room because there was
semi.
one other, there was a couple in
there's
there
a couple
with
there.
us.
It was like a semi-private
Looked like a
room,
date.
though.
They were
Yeah,
on a date.
they were on a date. Yeah, he was trying to impress her. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He's ordering the most expensive sake and stuff. I keyed in on that, but no, it was like a semi-private room, which is really nice because the drinking establishments can get a little raucous, you know.
Right.
So, but that dinner was great, and then the walk through Kyoto at night was beautiful too.
Yes.
Got some good pictures, and I'll put some of those in here, put some on my Instagram and stuff and Twitter. But
Let's see. Yes, we walked all the way from the. Did we walk all the way from the restaurant to the hotel? I think we
we did, didn't we?
last night.
I think we walked back
One
Saturday.
night we did, but not. I thought it was the night before.
Because I think we had a lot of food at the sushi place. I think we all said like, let's walk back.
Let's walk back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah. That's Japan is so safe, and Kyoto is built on a grid, and so it's easy to find your way.
Yes.
Yeah, really easy to find your way.
Easier to
Where-
find your way.
Yeah, easier. Yeah. So other cities like Tokyo, where they intentionally built it so you couldn't make a frontal assault in the castle, they made it intentionally
Right.
confusing. And then after the 1923 earthquake and after World War II, they just had to build wherever they had space. And so you'll see funny shaped buildings and funny streets that are like 2 lanes and then 1 lane, then a dead end. And like,
So it's 2024, and we have map apps on our cell
Yep.
phones that will help you get from
That's right.
A to B, and that has worked pretty well. Although in Tokyo at times the apps,
signal.
yeah, the apps couldn't exactly place you,
Yeah.
and so the directions we'd get
Yeah.
have to backtrack and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot when we didn't know exactly where we were going.
Oh, and cell phone service in Japan. What are you using?
So, my carrier back home is T-Mobile,
Okay.
and for what was it? It was a bit pricey, but I could pay for 10 days of service
Okay.
that included high-speed data and phone calls. I think the phone calls are 25 cents a minute.
Okay.
And then, you reminded me to use if we use FaceTime audio instead
Yep.
of making a phone call.
Instead of phone calls. Yeah.
It's no charge. The other thing I did was when you book the JR Pass,
Mm-hmm.
at the same time you can also reserve a mobile hotspot.
Oh, good. Yep.
So I did that. I think it's the company is called Ninja. It's a Ninja mobile hotspot, but it uses doesn't use 5G. It uses 4G or LTE,
Okay.
so it's slower. And there are there've been a couple of annoying things about it.
Okay.
Slower speeds, and doesn't play well with the Apple App Store.
Oh, okay.
So one of the reasons I got a mobile hotspot was
Yeah.
I would like to download apps.
Yeah.
or download app updates as I go through Japan. And the hotspot wouldn't let me update the apps. So fortunately, I have a VPN I use.
There you go.
And Hotspot VPN. I don't know if you don't get promotional credit for Hotspot VPN, and you might want to edit this out.
Yeah,
but,
no, that's okay.
But I use a VPN, and when I turned the VPN on, the Ninja Network didn't recognize that I was updating an app in the App Store.
Nice. Okay.
Sometimes if you're using the VPN, Apple won't let you use the App Store, so it's I would connect to the App Store with the VPN off, and I would discover all the apps that need to be updated, and then I turn the VPN on and update them all.
Okay, so there's got to use a workworkaround, right?
And it's annoying, right?
Yeah,
It's like, hey, wait a minute, I paid a significant amount of money so that this wouldn't be a headache, and it was a headache.
Okay, yeah.
So that was also a frustrating thing. So going back to when we first arrived, and you didn't meet up with us until
at the airport. Yeah,
at the airport. So you suggested that we take the train to the hotel. That was a terrible idea.
Okay, I'll never do that.
I knew it was a terrible idea, so I didn't listen to you.
Tell me how you really feel.
We took a cab.
Okay, yeah.
And he. And I didn't follow advice that I had read before I came, which was to print out your hotel location
reservation
in both English and Japanese.
Oh, so yeah.
He was really struggling to figure out which hotel to go to. And had I had it in both languages, he would have just read the hotel and we would have been off. And
you had it in English.
I had it only in English.
Okay.
And so the entire drive to the hotel, I'm like, gee, I wonder if he's going to the right place.
So, yeah, I guess you can switch, especially if you're at a hotel in Japan and you switch. There's usually a globe on their website. You click that and go to Japanese. Yeah.
Right. So I could have.
Oh, okay.
I could have easily found it and printed it out in Japanese, but I just. Well, it would have helped to not.
Would have been great.
Do that at the last minute. Right. Packing, and I was like, oh, I never did that, and it's time to go.
Yep. It always happens when you travel. Yeah. So.
So back to the JR Pass. I think there's one thing about the JR Pass that I didn't mention, which is, so I think it's a pretty good deal. We traveled just enough that it's
to make it worth it.
Worth it. So, the things I didn't like about the JR Pass, if you damage it, so it's just a. Here it is.
Just a paper.
Just a piece of paper, right? If you fold it, bend it, it gets scanned as it goes through the turnstile. If you bend it, they won't replace it. Wow. They warn you multiple times. If you bend it, you can't replace it. You can't even buy a new rail pass for the time until the time period of your pass, the 7-day period. Until that's expired, you can't buy a second JR Pass to replace it.
Oh my gosh!
So
maybe that's why some people had a little necklace, like a, what do you call those? You use them at conferences.
A lanyard.
A lanyard.
With
some people had a lanyard. Yeah.
Okay. I just kept it in my passport.
Yeah. Keep it safe. Yeah.
There's a logic to that, right? If you need to have your passport with you all the time.
Yep.
If you're riding around on the trains, you should have your passport with you, and the passport is stiff, so it protects it.
It protects it, yeah.
So I did that, but it also meant that the entire time we were here, it's like, don't bend that.
Yeah, don't bend that, yeah.
And then you're walking through a busy train station or a busy subway station and using this, and there are a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't want to stand right at the turnstile.
Yep.
With
people behind
1,000 people behind you, and I'll tell a story about that in a second. Fumbling around in your pocket for your passport to pull out your JR Pass, which you don't want to bend.
Yep.
Which is it'd be really great if there were
an
electronic
easier way.
JR Pass on your phone or
like an app or something.
It was 70,000 yen for. That's about in May 2024 exchange rate. That's about $500.
Yep.
So that's a lot. Oh, you bend it. So so sorry.
And it's gone. Yep. Wow.
And it's gone. Or you lose it,
Mm.
it's gone.
Yeah. Now, if I were going to a hotel and I lost my reservation, I could just go up there and tell them my name, show my passport,
Right.
and
Right.
get my room, right? With this,
Even if you lose your passport, not that I've ever done that or recommend it,
don't do that. Yeah.
but you can contact the local embassy or consulate,
That's right.
and there are recoveries for that.
Yeah. Oh, that.
At the JR
they're
Pass,
really good.
no recovery.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
So there was one trip Sarah and I made to. Oh, one day
Yes.
we weren't with you at all.
Mhm.
We and this was your suggestion. So it was and thank you. It was great. One of the things that I wanted to do while we were in Japan was see Mount Fuji.
Mm.
And you found a nice bus tour.
Yeah.
And it left from close walking distance from our hotel,
Shinagawa, yeah.
from Shinagawa. So we could just a 10-minute walk from our hotel to the bus location. We actually were nervous enough about that we walked over there the night before.
Yeah. Pre-plan. I
Pre-plan,
really recommend
and
it,
if you can pre-plan, it's better. If we hadn't pre-planned that, we probably would have taken a taxi from the hotel,
Yeah.
which was that's speaking of the exchange rate and the prices. I cannot believe how inexpensive taxis are here.
Really cheap.
That taxi ride would have been under 1,000 yen.
Oh yeah. Yep.
And
Like $7. $7.50.
right now, exchange rate I think is $6.40
Yeah. Okay.
for 1,000 yen. So it would have been about $6 to take a taxi from the hotel to the bus, and it would have been so worth it.
You can't even get in a taxi in New York for $6, right?
I don't know any place in the United States you can take
Wow.
a taxi any place for $6. Probably are some places. So, so we didn't read carefully the itinerary for the bus plan.
Yeah.
I think you did. You knew this, but I didn't.
Well, I don't either. I knew it and I forgot to tell you, or I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
So the bus tour left from near our hotel, but it dropped everybody. It returned back during rush hour, Tokyo rush hour, and of course they don't want to go. Multiple stops in Tokyo.
Yep.
They dropped everybody on the bus off at Shinjuku.
Shinjuku, that's right.
Right. So it's about 8 stops on the Yamamoto line, which is a JR
Yeah. So you could use
line, so I could
JR
use my JR
right?
pass, right?
Okay.
But when we'd taken the Yamamoto line the night before to get back to our hotel with you.
That's right. Yeah.
I was after going to what was the name of the garden?
Ueno? No.
No.
What? Oh, Hamarikyu.
Hamarikyu.
Oh, I forgot about that. Hamarikyu is fun too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was the first night we had. So we went to Hamarikyu.
That's right.
And then we had sushi, and then we rode the subway back to Shinagawa.
That's right. Okay.
And so Sarah and I had done that, and so we're like, okay, well, our JR passes. Oh, that's the other thing with the JR pass. You have to decide which 7 days.
That's right.
So we arrived on Sunday, I think.
Was it? Yeah.
Sunday.
The 24th?
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Is that Monday?
We flew. We left. Left, I believe, on May 18th.
Okay.
Landed on May 19th.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
And
I'm
then
confused,
actually I can just read on the pass.
24th is the day we came to Kyoto.
May 22nd is the day we went to Mount Fuji.
Okay.
Right. So that was the first day when I got the JR pass, you had to those were adventures we had at the airport before we met. So had to get
I should have just gone to the airport.
Yeah, it
taken
would
a
have
day off,
had I thought about that would have been
Yeah.
you've spent
But you know what?
most of this 10 days Tracy's been with us except the day we went to Mount Fuji.
That's right, yeah.
And I don't want to be a burden on a family member.
Not at all. No, not at all.
But we got through customs, and you couldn't have helped us get through customs, and that part goes smoothly.
Yeah.
There's signs in English. The signage is pretty good.
Okay.
The translations are occasionally funny.
We saw a couple of good ones, and I'll put those up on the screen.
Yeah.
They were fun, yeah.
And but if I were doing translations from English to Japanese, I'd probably make some howlers too.
My favorite was probably No Down.
No Down, yes.
No Down. And that was in one of the gardens at Obain, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where there's a little terrace, and then there's a rock garden down here. And I know what it is in Japanese is like, do not come down, do not walk down in here. And and the sign was really old and weathered.
Yes.
So I think it was a long
It
time
was.
ago.
It had been there for a long time.
But the sign said, no down.
Right.
It's probably my favorite. That's become like a running joke now.
Yes.
Like when we get on the escalator, yes, up.
Yes, up.
Wow. Yeah, that's the great part about traveling with family is like you can just have that,
Right.
those inside jokes. So, and I've got to talk a lot about our like stuff I didn't know about my dad and your dad and stuff.
Yes, that was.
Yeah, that's good.
And then they both passed away.
Yep. Yeah, they're both passed away by now. But to hear stuff that I didn't know about my dad is really cool, and hear stuff I didn't know about your dad is awesome. Yeah, and because when you grow up, you see a person a certain way, and then even siblings in the same home, see them a different way. So to hear those perspectives it's just nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
I didn't finish the story of JR Pass. So we're at Shinjuku. The day before, the passes weren't valid, so we hadn't used them.
Okay.
And so we bought a ticket.
Bought a little ticket, right?
Yeah, bought a little ticket, went through, and you have an IC pass, I think it's called. Mm-hmm. And so you went through one turnstile and told us to go over here. So Sarah walked through the IC pass.
Oh.
And she like and just tapped her JR pass to the reader.
Yeah, well, it's got a QR code on it.
It is, yeah. So
I think you can just tap it, right?
And it's everything's electronic. So so she walks through, and the alarm beeps, and the turnstile closed behind her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she's looking back at me, and I'm standing there, and it's rush hour in Tokyo, so thousands of people are queuing up behind me. And a very nice lady stopped the line next to me.
Okay.
And she pointed to where my pass needed to go.
So the interesting thing is the gate or the wicket. There are some that you can put a paper pass or a ticket through, and some, if it says IC only or IC, that's for electronic payment.
And I would recommend taking a picture of those turnstiles and put that into the video well, because
because especially in rush hour and when people are, the train's coming in 2 minutes, they got to run up the stairs.
So Japanese people are very polite, and there are a lot of things that I noticed that behaviors. I wish I could, grab Americans by the shirt,
by the collar. Yeah.
Would you please do this? It's a really good way to behave. But also like you said, everything runs right on time. If you miss your train, they don't wait for you. Yep. So then we got on the right line because we had done it before, and that was an experience without our tour guide.
Oh boy, yeah.
But then all the way back, I'm like, okay, well, Sarah never put her ticket in.
Is this gonna?
Is it going to eat her ticket, which we will never be able to replace? 70,000 yen gone. Can't get to Kyoto and Hiroshima, which were the two other places we really wanted to get to.
Oh yeah.
So then I phoned a friend.
Yeah.
and we talked it over, and you recommended that we go through the
JR office,
JR office, which is right alongside all of the turnstiles. Mm-hmm. And I asked in my very best Japanese, "Do you speak English?" Eigo hanasumasa. Yeah. Ka is like putting a question mark, on the end of a sentence. Mm-hmm. So, and he didn't, and he spoke. I think that was one of the people that said a little bit, and he really meant a little bit.
But then we
had talked about it ahead of time. So I phoned you, and you explained everything in Japanese to him, and he's like, "Okay," and then he just let us through.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So now I didn't sleep well that night, because while Sarah went through both places without putting her pass in, I went in at Shinjuku and never put my pass through to get out at Shinagawa.
Yeah. So you're wondering, is it going
to eat my pass?
Have I opened a loop?
Right. But then the good news there is, if it does eat your pass, and I don't know how you know this, but you can go to the office and tell them, and they'll come and open it up and fish out the pass.
It's very rare. So if you're playing host to somebody visiting Japan, meet them at the airport.
If you have the
If you can.
if you can.
I honestly, I assume, like, since the people at the airport, like, customs honestly doesn't speak much English.
No, but it's a process, right?
Yeah.
You just get in line and
just the
you
same.
get through.
Every
And,
country, yeah.
yeah.
Well, my first time in Narita, he showed me a picture of a knife, a gun, and a pot leaf. He just showed me the picture of those three, and he
And
says,
you shook your head.
and he
said
says,
no.
"You have? You have?" I said, "No." He's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
That was that was my customs. Or
Well,
my
there's a
immigration.
form you're supposed to fill out. They hand it
That's
to you
true, yeah.
as you're on the airplane, and that's Actually, I think we argued a little bit, Sarah and I,
Okay.
on the plane. She has way more neater handwriting than I do. So okay, your job is to fill out the form. Okay, well, do I have to do that now? It's a 13 and a half hour flight.
Before we land, yeah. Just before we land, yeah.
And I'm like, well, I want to do it before I get tired.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
but we
so-
did it. But there were people in line in customs without the forms filled out. And
Yep.
then they're told to go over to this table here and just fill out the form on the airplane, especially if you're on a 13-hour flight.
I try to do it when they hand it out.
Yes.
I try to do it then because I'm going to forget. I'm going to start watching a movie, have some food,
Right.
or fall asleep, and then end up being that person at the airport filling out the form at
Right.
the counter. Yeah.
Right.
With a pen that 1,000 other people have used.
Yeah, so I think we talked a little bit about picking up the JR Pass and the Ninja. They were in different locations. You buy them at the same time. They're different companies.
Oh, yeah.
And
So finding things in the airport.
finding things in the airport, it took us a long time. I think we were texting with you while we were going through all of this.
That's
And
right,
it probably took us a half an hour longer
than it needed to, right?
than it needed
Okay,
to.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been more that I was tired after.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You flew from the East Coast.
We
right?
flew from the East
Of
Coast,
US.
and it's interesting because it's about 7,000 miles from
yeah.
where we started. And our plane took off, I want to say it was around 12:30 Eastern,
Okay.
and landed around 3:30 local.
Yeah.
What is, I don't know what Japan standard
JST.
JST.
Japan Standard Time, yeah.
here. Our plane was in daylight the entire
The
time.
whole time, yeah.
Right? That's if you
Yeah.
we were following the sun. The sun was we kept up enough that we stayed in daylight
Okay.
the entire time.
Yeah, so when you have friends and family come to Japan, meet them at the airport.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So then a couple more things we're going to talk about. So you stayed at a couple of different hotels. How did you find the service, the level of English, and the size of the rooms? Yeah.
Rooms are really small. There's a downward trend in room size in the States, but the rooms here are smaller than I think any room I've been in the US. Everything seems so new. Now I picked higher end hotels, but not the, we're not talking 5-star luxury hotels,
Sure.
but nice
Good
places,
hotels, yeah.
good hotels. Everything's very new. Everything seems to work really well. There are always people on the staff that do speak English well, but not everybody.
Okay.
Everybody is very polite. That really stands out. The
love that.
consideration of Japanese people, and look, it's a crowded place, and you have to be considerate of each other, or I don't think things would work as well as they do here. And that's actually a thing I wanted to mention earlier. As we walked through, okay, so let me start with a pet peeve back home. I call it the airport terminal effect,
Okay.
where if you have 2 or more people that are together, and if it's really crowded, they'll walk close together.
Sure.
And as soon as there's open space,
They spread out.
they'll spread out. And if you're like behind like a group of 4 or 5 people, and you've been waiting a while so I'm a fast walker. We were talking about that earlier, right?
Yeah.
We walked, 15, 20,000 steps every day. And so I walk a lot. I walk fast. This is maybe not the best characteristic. This is about me, but I don't like to walk slowly.
Oh, yeah.
It just
I get it.
just bugs me. And I Like I'm not going to insist that everybody else walk fast.
Sure.
But don't like build a roadblock in front of me and then walk slowly.
A moving roadblock, right? Yeah.
My observation, and it's amazing, not all, but it seems to me most Japanese people I've seen in busy subways, busy train stations, just on the street, seem to have more of a 360-degree awareness than what I see in America.
Okay.
And so I haven't been behind a roadblock like that. Okay. And you'll be, like, the crowds here are impressive.
Yeah.
You light turns green, and people from both sides of the street are coming at each other.
Come through. Yep.
But everybody is looking ahead and plotting a path. And sometimes you'll see people make a motion like this to let you know they're trying to get through here. But it's like a coordinated dance.
Amazing.
People
it's a good
working.
dance. Yeah, it's a really good dance.
And again, it's a consideration and a politeness, and that has really stood out in Japan.
Yeah. Now, I do find one of my pet peeves is that I call them the cell phone zombies.
Oh.
They don't run into me, but I do find myself dodging people because they're stuck in their phone.
And I've seen a few people in Japan. People are people everywhere.
I think it happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere.
You know, yes. I want to say in Europe somewhere, there are signs on the sidewalk. When the light turns green, the light on the sidewalk turns green because people are staring down the whole time.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
There's a
whole
idea.
Genre of really funny ads in the subway and JR of warning people to look up from their phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'll try to find a couple of those. They're pretty funny. Like one is somebody falling off the tracks, because they're staring at the phone. But there's always those ones like it's not a hidden camera, but it's like a CCTV camera of the people walking into the fountain because they're on their phone. They're looking at their phone. Yeah, it happens every once in a while. But I think you're right. I think even though somebody may be staring at their phone, they are making sure people don't run into me.
Yes.
They just kind of get in the way and then move out of the way.
But it's a deliberately not wanting to be inconsiderate.
Yeah.
And if you come to life that way, then you just behave a little differently.
Exactly. Yeah. So we did spend like a day in Hiroshima.
Yes.
That was pretty easy. I mean, to get there was easy.
But
to get the streetcar, if we didn't have a Japanese person...
Oh, that would have been tough.
I'm so used to Tokyo where you use your e-pass, your Passmo or Suica to beep through the turnstile. Mm-hmm. And you do that when you get out. Or if you get a paper ticket, you put that in, and then you put it in when you get out. And if the fare is correct, you just go through. The bus in Kyoto is the opposite way.
Yes.
You get on and pay, and get on the back and go out the front when you get off. In Tokyo, you get on the front and pay, and you just jump off the back, or the side when you get out. So it's the total opposite. The order of payment and where you get on in Kyoto, at least the buses we took.
Yes.
Get on the back, pay when you get off. The streetcar was
different, entirely different.
I had no idea what's going on. Fortunately, there was an English-speaking foreigner who said you tap your pass when you get in and tap when you get out, and it calculates for you. We ended up getting one-day passes, which thankfully that handled the whole streetcar all the way to the dome, the memorial park.
And the ferry.
Yeah, and the ferry. So the dome to the ferry back and forth. And we could have taken the streetcar back, but
we used the JR passes.
It was like that was a long trip.
It would have been a 30-minute streetcar ride, and it was loud and crowded.
And crowded, and stopped at every single station. Yes. Now, we took the JR, and it was just a couple stops back to Hiroshima
15 minutes back to Hiroshima Station.
That was a breeze. I would recommend that.
Yes.
If you just want to go to Miyajima.
Yep.
And that was cool. Miyajima
that was a
awesome.
cool stop.
The iconic gate. And I've only heard of deer in Nara.
Yes.
Which is close by, but there were deer on Miyajima too.
Yes.
And they were
annoying.
They were surprising. They would come up behind tourists and like almost like a dog, like beg for food.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they'd poke you. They were. I watched one poke somebody in the back.
Wow. And they were definitely not afraid of humans.
No.
And they're looking for food, but they didn't look like wilder. They didn't look healthy to me.
And they didn't look healthy, no.
They're eating too much human food.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I would say don't feed them. But we were able to get drinks and stuff. And what about finding a trash can?
Oh.
This is the whole trip. Right?
Yeah, that's
Not just Miyajima or Hiroshima.
so there's a lot of things. Look, if you're walking 20,000 steps a day, you're drinking a lot of water.
You need to
too.
hydrate.
You need to hydrate, and so the water bottles you can buy them everywhere.
Yep.
It's amazing. 7-Eleven is everywhere here. It's very, very popular.
Yes.
And nothing like 7-Eleven back in the
Back
States.
home, yeah.
It's there are one or two other convenience stores or konbinis.
Yeah, Konbini, yeah. Family Mart, Lawson, there's
Yes.
a couple, Daily, Yamazaki, yeah.
Yeah, but you can buy anything at a 7-Eleven here.
Yeah.
it seems.
You got socks last night.
I bought socks because we were thinking, well, we'll just do laundry.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turned out the only thing that I didn't have enough of for the trip was socks.
Yeah.
And
that's something you want to have fresh socks.
Yeah,
right?
fresh
it's
socks.
a big thing.
And I don't have to take time doing laundry. If
Mm-hmm.
I paid the hotel to it, it'd be way more expensive than
more
buying
expensive
two
than
new
buying socks.
socks at the 7-Eleven. We did some breakfasts were just yogurt and
Yeah, like the first couple of days
fruit.
you went to the buffet, right?
right.
And then after that,
That
it's
gets
like,
old.
let's get yogurt for like 120 yen.
Yeah.
And that's breakfast. That's breakfast in the
Right,
morning.
breakfast and but you could get anything at the 7-Eleven.
Oh, I love, 7-Eleven, yeah. Really good stuff. But you get a bottle of water because you need to hydrate because you're walking, it's humid. And it was pretty warm.
And then look, the streets are really clean.
Really clean, but
I don't understand how people do it because there's no place to throw out the trash.
right? There's no garbage
Walk-
cans, yeah.
Walk for miles and miles carrying
Yep.
a water bottle, and it's
Yep.
Now I think you were telling me there's a law that says if there's a vending machine, there's supposed to be
Supposed to be a garbage can.
a garbage
receptacle for the
for the
bottles.
bottles right next to it.
And I don't know if it's a law or like a city ordinance or something, but whatever it is, there's a regulation. You have to have a trash can next to the vending machine. But since it's only about proximity, a lot of times they hide it behind the machine.
Yes. And look, we looked hard. There were some. If it was there following the
Yep.
rule, it was really hidden well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there were a couple they didn't have a receptacle anywhere.
Right.
So
There. And then you just end up carrying the bottle with you
Yep.
until you find something. Eventually you find something. In some cases, I found it on the train.
yep. The train or
The train always has
the
it.
bullet train has
The
a
bullet
receptacle.
does it, yes.
A lot of places though along the city, if you're used to big cities in the West, where there will be a trash can on the corner,
Yeah.
just don't have them.
It is not. That's
Yeah.
not a thing. Yeah.
Don't have them here, but it's clean. And then a lot of times you end up with that bottle in your bag, coming back to the hotel,
And
throw it away at the hotel.
throw it away here. Yeah.
That's one thing that I think is a lot of people find surprising. You know?
Yeah.
And there are places where there's litter, but it's really rare.
Yeah. No, it's
Really
been
rare,
an
yeah.
amazingly clean place
Really
and new.
clean.
Almost everything seems very new. And it's interesting. You know, the streets, the train stations, the subway stations. Everything seems some seemed older than others. I haven't seen back home. I see construction all the time.
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't seen any construction going on here.
Okay, because
And I'm sure that must be because things are new all the time.
yeah. I think when I was in Europe, somebody said that like Copenhagen's a city that'll never be finished, right? And I think Tokyo especially. I don't know about Kyoto, but Tokyo especially is a city that will never be finished. So Hiroshima was a very moving experience.
Hiroshima was moving and overwhelming.
Yeah.
Um,
I did, by the end, I saw so many pictures that at the end you start to get like almost fatigued
right.
by the scale of the suffering.
Yes. And the they tell many stories, all heartbreaking. And some of the images, the damaged tricycle stands out in my mind. you know, in an instant, tens of thousands of lives changed, and then over months and years, the suffering that continued. It's very somber, and I think it's important. I think that that is called the Peace Memorial.
Yeah.
Right. It's not. Yes, it's about what happened on that day.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more about it never happening again.
Yes. And you picked up on that. I looked at the name. It could have had several names. The Atomic Bomb Memorial, the War Memorial.
Yes.
But it's the Peace Memorial.
The Peace Memorial. And so it's aspirational. There were a handful of things I really wanted to do while I was in Japan, and going to the Peace Memorial was one of them. And so glad we went.
Yeah, I'm glad I could go with you. Yeah, that's, whew.
Yeah.
Thank you. Awesome. I had a great time.
Yeah, I did too.
I'm glad we were able to do this together.
Yep.
So thanks for coming to Japan.
It was great to see you, Tracy. It's been too long.
Yeah, been way too long. We will not let it be another 20 years. So all right.
All right.
Thanks.